Um, Hello guys, welcome to um, my live stream. In today's live stream, we are going to be talking about the some command line interfaces or command some commands, some Linux commands. So the Linux command helps us to do our normal computation. But this time around, we are not going to be making use of the graphical user interface, but rather we are going to be making use of Linux commands. The Linux commands helps us to run tasks, save files, uh, create directories, delete files, change file permissions, automate tasks using Bash, and do a whole lot of other things on our program. Give me some time. Let me invite some other people to our stream. All right, so let's continue. I had to take this opportunity to invite other persons to the live stream. So we are going to be um, talking more of command lines and some commands in Linux, because we are going to be starting everything from the beginning, so that if you join this live event and you are constantly following up, by the end of maybe some few months, you'll be able to get your hands working on some real projects as a developer. All right, I'm going to go ahead to share my screen because of the fact that I want to show a lot of things right now. I'm going to be showing my entire screen so that before we can start anything, you need the Git bash. So simply go to your browser. That is, if you don't have the Git bash terminal, simply go to your browser and type Git bash and download Git bash. So right here, you can download Git bash. Once you download Git bash, you install it. You will need to install that Git bash. But I already have Git bash. Okay. Now you can also do the same. You can also follow up with this live if you have Ubuntu. If you are using Mac, you don't need to install anything, because by default your Mac will come with this terminal already installed. If for any reason your Mac OS does not come with this terminal, you can simply do the same thing. You can see this is for Mac. You simply click here and either use the homebrew or you use sudo to download it on your Mac. Same thing for if you want to use it for Linux, you can simply use app-get install git, and by doing so, you will have Git installed on your system. Now, another way we can do the same thing is to actually come to this place and look for Ubuntu, or rather, if you are using Windows, make sure you have WSL activated on your Windows, So to find WSL, by default on Windows 11, you are 11. But on Windows 10, you need to come to your search and type WSL, WSL, or Windows Subsystem for Linux. So either you use WSL or Windows Subsystem for Linux. You can see it right here. So once you have this, you can easily run Ubuntu on your system. I have Ubuntu installed, so I don't need to do any much thing. So Windows 11 makes it easy. But if you are using Windows 10, I am going to show you how to do that. So when you come to your search, you just type Windows for Linux. Now, this is going to open it. It's going to give you some suggestion here. As you can see in my own, I don't really have it right in my own as an app. But if you are using Windows 10, you are going to see where to select something like Windows Subsystem for Linux somewhere here. You click it and go and mark the virtual machine. Once you do that, you can then go to your Microsoft Store. When you go to the Microsoft Store, you then look for Ubuntu. Now, always make sure you use the Microsoft Store, because the one in Microsoft Store has already been provisioned for Windows. So you don't need any configuration to be able to install and use it. So simply come to this place and look for Ubuntu. So you can download any of the versions. So right here, you click on Get, and this Ubuntu is going to be installed on your system. Very simple and straightforward. For me, I don't need to do any much thing, because my own Ubuntu is already installed. I don't need to do anything because I already have Ubuntu. So let me open Ubuntu. Ubuntu. Right here, you can see I have Ubuntu. So let's open it. So this is Ubuntu. Let me make it full screen. So either you use this Ubuntu or you use Git Bash. Any of them will work. So either you use Git Bash or you use Ubuntu. I'm going to be making use of Ubuntu for the purpose of this particular tutorial. So let's wait for it to load the interface. Failed to start system session for Varsity. That's not a problem. So as you can see right here, Ubuntu is open. Let's see if Ubuntu is actually working. Let me just write one Linux command, pwd, to see. So you can see my Ubuntu is actually working. Now we are going to be looking at the Linux commands one after the other. Let's start with the first command we're talking about today, which is how to identify the user on the system. So which user am I currently working with in this particular system? Now let's look at it. We use who am I? So this who am I is the command that I can use to identify the current user in this system. I press enter now. The current user is Varsity. So this is the command. So take note of this command, the who am I command. The who am I command tells you the user who is operating on the system at that moment. So the user I have right here is Varsity. Now, let us look at the second command. The second command we'll be looking at is the print working directory command. So the print working directory command, or the PWD command. The PWD command tells us our current working directory, the directory which we are currently working on. It tells us how to identify this directory or paths to be able to locate this directory. So if I press enter right now, it tells me that I am in the home directory, and within the home directory, I am inside the Varsity directory. And this is what this PWD has shown to me. So the PWD command will tell you the current working directory, the directory which you are currently working on. Second, the next command, which is the third command we are going to be looking at, is the man command. M-A-N, man. So the man command is used to identify manual. There are so many flags to man command, which if I want to only find out the manual of this system, I can simply do man. So I want to use the manual, and I want to make sure that I am operating the manual. There are so many other man commands, but let's just focus on the man. Let's see. So this shows the manual. Look at it right here. So we have man, an interface to the system. So you can see manual pager utils. So the utility page for the manual. And you can see we have man with flag option of man. We also have man with flag option of care. And the care is a regular expression, which we have man dash care, man dash f, man dash l, man dash w, and so on. But man is for the manual page. And if you take a look at this, this indicates all the manual for this Ubuntu distribution. This is the manual for the Ubuntu distribution, which I don't really need to do much. So I need to just move out of this manual. And to move out of this manual, I can simply use Q to quit that manual, or I can use H if I need help from this manual. So let's try using H. So when I use H, you see it gives me even more other commands and tells you what they do. If you use Q, if you press Q, it is going to move out of the help interface. And if you press Q again, you will come back to the terminal. Very straightforward. If for any reason you have a question, you can simply use the comment section from here. There's a live chat around here that you can use to ask your question. So you can use this area to ask your questions if you have any questions at all. Let's go back to the terminal. So you have known that you can use man to get the manual. And when you are in the manual page, the only way you can move out of this manual page is by using Q. Just press the letter Q and it will take you back to the terminal. But if you use the letter H, it will take you to the help interface. And if you want to move out of the help interface, you can simply press Q and it moves you back to the manual page. Then you press Q again, it takes you back to the terminal page. Now let us look at other commands for listing. The next command we are going to be looking at is the list command. The list command, or LS command, we use it to identify all the files and directories available in our directory. If we live in a directory or we are active in a certain directory, we don't see the content of those directories. Now, when I say directory, I mean folders. You don't necessarily see those pages. Now, how can we be able to see the page? We can only see this page by using the ls command. Now let's press enter. Now when you press enter, you notice that we have two other folders or directories, which are the Snap and the websites. Now let us create another folder within this place or directory. To create a directory, we use this command called mkdir. mkdir stands for make directory. Now, making a directory is the same thing as creating a folder. On Windows, you call it a folder, but on Linux and Ubuntu system, we call it a directory. So to create a directory, we use make directory, which is mkdir, make directory, with a space followed by the name of the directory you want to create. Let me call this directory YouTube-stream. Now press enter. This directory has been created, but we can't know, or we don't see whether or not this directory has been created. But the only way we can see that this directory has been created is when we use the ls command. Let's try it. Now notice we now have YouTube stream, Snap, and websites. So which means we have created another folder within this directory. Now we can move from one directory to another. We can move from one directory to another. And to move from one directory to another, there is a command for that. I am still coming because the ls command, we have not really exhausted it. There are some other things that we can do with the ls command, but let's focus on the change directory now. So we use the cd command to change directory. So changing directory means moving from one folder to another, or from one directory to another. Very straightforward. So let's say we are currently in the directory called Varsity. Now, we want to move from this directory called Varsity to the directory called YouTube stream. And to do that, we simply use cd, then space, followed by the name. And the name is always case sensitive. So if this is capital U, capital Y, and you are trying to use small y, you are not going to be getting the correct output. So it is case sensitive. So let's say YouTube-stream. Now this is the correct spelling. Let's press enter. Now notice something. We now see that we are currently within the folder called YouTube, as you can see right here. Now, I want you to take a look at this green area. You can see that from here down to here, we don't have this YouTube stream, but right here we now have /YouTube stream, indicating that we are currently in the YouTube stream directory. And to confirm it, you can use the print working directory command. Press enter. Notice we are inside the home and inside the varsity and then in the stream. So we are currently in the YouTube stream directory. All right. Now, let us go back to where we came from, which is the varsity directory, as you can see right here. Let's move from this YouTube directory back to this place. Now, moving back, we can use the cd ... Now, ... indicates the previous directory where you came from, whereas dot indicates the current directory where you are. So the current directory where you are is dot, whereas the previous directory where you came from is ... So when we want to move back to where we came from, we can simply say cd space ... Let's try it. Press enter. Now notice that we are no longer within the YouTube stream folder or directory. We are currently in the varsity directory. And to confirm it, we can try the pwd command. Let's press enter. Now notice we are currently in varsity directory. I hope this is easy. Now let's continue. We can also specify an exact folder or directory that we want to move into. Maybe moving it from forward like that. But we can first try moving back to the YouTube stream. Let's use cd YouTube stream. Press enter. So we are now in the YouTube stream. Let's make another directory and move into it. So we can do mkdir, which is make directory. Let's call this directory first lesson or lesson 1. Lesson_1. Let's press enter. If you do ls now, notice that inside the YouTube stream, we only have lesson 1. Let's move into the lesson 1 with cd lesson_1. Press enter. Now notice that we are currently inside. Now, how can we move from this pwd actually, so that you can understand what I'm trying to do right here? Now, how do you think we can move directly from lesson 1 to the varsity? Remember, if you use cd space ... it is going to take you back to YouTube stream and not actually the varsity. But how can we move to the varsity without moving into the YouTube stream? So in that case, we can simply use the flags. If you do ... you are signifying the previous directory. And if you use / and say varsity, Now this tells this thing that you want to move backwards. Let's try. Now this is, it says no such directory. Let's try this again. Let's try slash varsity. You will see it will still tell us that this does not exist, right? But we want to move back. Let's try dot slash varsity. Still the same thing. Now, how do you think we can move back? We don't need to move back using cd dot dot, because if we do cd dot dot, this is going to take us to the YouTube stream. But we don't want to move into the YouTube stream. We want to move directly into the varsity directory. And if we use the PWD just to identify the directory structure, you would notice that within the lesson, before this, we have home, within we have YouTube, within YouTube, we have lesson 1. Now, you can do cd dot dot for backwards. Now, there is this way. I'm going to show you 2 means of doing that. So one of the ways of doing this is to run multiple commands at the same time, which is running multiple cd dot dot 2 times at the same time. Another way we can do it is to use the back arrows. I will show you later on for that. So if we do cd dot dot and we use double ampersand that says cd dot dot again. Now this place is this is the most important thing to me right now. This ampersand symbol. Now, this ampersand symbol tells us that we want to combine 2 commands at the same time. In fact, this is tricky because you can trick it around. If we do enter now, notice that we are currently in varsity. If you do PWD, press enter, we are already in the varsity directory. Okay, so what if we don't want to use multiple commands, but we want to do it straightforward? Now, if we want to move forward, let's say we want to move forward, and you know that within varsity we have YouTube. Within YouTube we have lesson. Let's say we want to move into lesson 1 without moving into YouTube stream. Somebody will say that we should use cd YouTube and then cd lesson. But if you do that, you'll be entering into the YouTube stream, but we don't want to enter the YouTube stream, right? So simply target the name of that folder or that directory that you want to move into. Okay, this time around we can use the dot and forward slash. Now, using dot and forward slash this time around indicates that you want to move from the current directory to the YouTube and then to the other one. So we can simply specify it accordingly. But we cannot just say slash lesson _1. We can't do this. Why? Because the lesson cannot be identified from this place. You can't find this lesson. So you need to specify the directory, from which directory to which directory, the levels of that directory. So here we can simply do cd YouTube slash lesson underscore 1. Press enter. Now notice we are currently in lesson 1. Let's repeat the process we did here. Instead of using cd dot dot and cd dot dot again, let us do it straight forward. Backwards, sorry, backwards. So backwards means that we want to, if you do PWD, we want to move from this lesson 1 to varsity. So we can simply do cd dot slash indicating this current directory that we want to, from this current directory we want to move to the YouTube dash stream slash varsity. Okay, so there is a little error there. Let's use dot dot. Now watch. So when you use dot dot, it tells it to move backwards. Remember that cd dot dot moves a step backward. So when you say dot dot, it tells this to move backwards. So moving backwards, it is going to arrive at YouTube stream. YouTube stream, it should move to the varsity. So this is hello, welcome to my stream. Welcome. Let's continue. So always make sure to use the comment section in case you have a question. There is a live chat by the side which you can use to throw up your questions so that I can take the questions at any time. Let us proceed. So you have seen how you can move backwards or move forward and target a specific directory from one directory to the other. Let us proceed with another command. Now, if you look at my screen, a lot of things written here, and somehow this could be confusing. If you want to have a clear interface, just use the command called clear, C-L-E-A-R. Press enter, and you can see everything clears. You have a clean interface. Let's proceed. So the clear command is used to clear your screen. It doesn't tamper with what you have. It only clears the screen. Now let's look at the command echo. The echo command. Now we use the echo command to print to the terminal console. So let's say, hello world. Now notice that hello world is wrapped in quotes. Now this is because hello world is a string. It is wrapped in quotes because it is a string. A string is like an alphanumerical characters or an alphanumerical type of data. Any data that contains alphabets or words or even sentences. In other words, you can call it an array of characters. So, but the easiest way I could explain it to you is that it is alphanumerical type of data. Now let's press enter. Now notice that in our screen we have hello world. Now that is the function of this echo command. It prints whatever we have on the terminal console. Let's try using um, some integer. So let's say 2 plus 2. You can see we still have 2 plus 2 right in the terminal console. So this is because we are using the echo command. So echo command is just for writing into the terminal. But we can also use this same echo command to create a file and write inside that file. So let's say we want to create a file called readme.md. We can simply use echo space what we want to write into that file. So let's say hello new world. Now this is what we want to write into that file we are creating. Now we can use this directional arrow. This tells it to channel whatever thing that is here into whatever thing that it finds here. So this is the place where we are going to put the name of that file. So let's say readme.md. Now this is to say that we want to write hello world, hello new world into this file called readme.md. Now let's press enter. Now we have created this file. Let us look at it. Use ls. Notice that we have readme.md right here. So we have created readme file right here. Let us see how we can read the content of this readme file, because we can still read the content of this file. So to read the content of a file, we use this command cat. Now followed by the name of the file you want to read. So we want to read the readme.md. Press enter. Notice something. We have hello new world. So with this command right now, we can easily read the content of this particular file. We can easily read the content of a file with the cat command. There are so many other ways to create a file. Let us look at this command that is called touch. Touch command is a little bit different from the other command like echo, because the touch command creates an empty file. It creates a file without a content. So if we do touch and we tell it the name of the file we want to create, let's call it features.md. Press enter. If you do ls to list it out, notice we now have features and we have readme. And if you do cat features.md, notice it is empty. It didn't print anything. This is because the touch command creates empty file. Another way we can create a file is by using an embedded text editor. Every Linux terminal has at least 2 embedded text editor. And the most prominent ones are the Vim, VIM, and the Nano, NANO, Nano. These 2 text editors, they come pre-installed in the Linux terminals. So if we want to use them, we can simply use them this way. So let's start with the Vim or the VI. Let's use VI to create another file. Let's call this file author.txt. So we do vi author.txt. Press enter. Notice that we have a new interface. This new interface is the interface of Vim or VI. The interface of this VI is so complicated that so many people could not handle it. Now, if you start typing something, you notice that it will not work until it enters the insert mode. And how do we put it into the insert mode? To put your VI or Vim into the insert mode, just press the letter I in your keyboard. Now notice that immediately you pressed I, you will have this insert below here, indicating that Vim or VI is in the insert mode currently. So we can now type. Let me put my name as the author. Let me even add the date. Now, to save this file is another headache on its own. Somebody may say Control S to save, but you don't save with Control S. And there is no way you can use your mouse to do anything right here because your mouse will not actually work. So how do we save? So we use colon or control. So you either call it control or you use colon W. So, but before we use colon, you need to press the escape key so that you can exit from the insert mode. Right now, we are no longer in the insert mode because if you look down here, you won't see the insert again. Now we use colon W. The W is used for saving, while Q is used for quitting. So if you want to save and quit at the same time, simply use colon WQ. Look at my command right here. Colon WQ. Once you do that, press enter. You'll be taken back to. And if you want to confirm if this file is created, just use your. Notice we have author.txt. And if you read cat author.txt, notice we have our file written. So this is to say that our file is written here. And because we use Vim. I hope you understand the difference between a directory and a file. A directory is the folder that can contain your files, but the file is the program itself. Okay, so to delete a file is very easy. Just do rm with the name of the file. But to delete a directory or a folder, you have to use the command rm-r. Now, the -r is a flag that tells it to delete the directory, even if it has some contents within it. Now, let us, followed by the name of the directory, which is new file. Press enter. The directory has been deleted. Let's confirm. ls. Notice we no longer have the new file directory. So to delete a certain directory, you must use -r. But to delete a file, just simply use rm followed by the name of the file. But directly, you must have rm space -r followed by the name of the directory. Let's continue. Now, this time around, let's look at the move command. So you can move a certain file from one directory to the other. So let's create two directories now. mkdir, let's call it new there. And remember this ampersand. You use it to run two commands at the same time. mkdir move there. Press enter. So we have created two folders or two directory at once. Let's use ls. Notice we have move there and we have new there. Now, let us move the readme.md into the new there, which is the new directory. Now, to do that, we use the mv command. Now, moving and copying is different, but they look similar and they do similar things as well. So move, now we tell it what we want to move, and we want to move readme.md, and then followed by where we want to move it to. We want to move it to the new there. Press enter. If you do ls right now, we no longer have the readme within this directory. But if you do cd into new there and do ls, notice we have the readme.md inside. So this is how we can move a file. You can even also move a folder. So you can move a folder from one place to another. For example, we can move this move there into the new there. So let's try it. mv, then what we want to move there. And then where we want to move it to, new there. So we have an error, and the error said cannot statically move the cannot start. Okay, move there, no such directory. And you know why? We are currently inside the new there directory. So let's move back. Let's move back into the YouTube stream and lesson 1. So cd YouTube dash stream slash lesson underscore 1. Okay, so let's now try the command again. So move, which is mv, and what we want to move is the move there, and we want to move it into the new there. Let's try it again. Now this move there has been moved into the new there. Let's try ls. Notice we no longer have the move there directory inside here. But if you move into the new there and do ls, you would notice we now have move there within the new there directory. So there is a lot. In fact, using the command line is very easy to compare with using your normal graphical user interface. But beginners tend to understand the graphical user interface better because of the fact that they see what they are doing. But when you don't, when you work with, when you want to deploy your applications or your softwares, maybe on the cloud or into any other infrastructure, most of them utilizes these command line interfaces. So it is a very important aspect of software engineering. It is also a very important aspect of cyber security and other aspects of embedding system engineering and so on, IoT, Internet of Things, and so many other areas. So it is very, very important. Ethical hacking cannot do without the command line interface. Cybersecurity cannot do without the command line interfaces, as well as software engineers and sometimes web developers. They can't do without this command line interface. It is a very essential aspect of whatever we are doing. I am going to end my stream here. Tomorrow, I'm going to start my streaming the same time tomorrow. Tomorrow, we are going to be writing bash commands. And if you notice, we are yet to talk about the copy command, which is the CP command. So let's do it now before we leave. So the copy command is used to copy a file or even a folder into another folder. Now let's use copy. Let's say we want to copy this readme.md and we want to copy it into the move there. So copy, then what you want to copy, then where you want to copy it to. Let's press, it says no such directory. Now that is because we are in the lesson folder. So we need to move into the new there with cd new there. Now let's revisit copy command again. Copy readme.md to move there. Let's try it again. Now it has been copied. If you do ls here, we still have the readme, but if you do cd into the move there and do ls, notice we have the readme again. So that's because it has been copied from the new there to the move there. So this is where I'll be ending the class or the stream right here. If you have any question, you are free to use the if you have any question, you are free to use the chat, the live chat by your right hand side.